Hi everyone, we are in this strange space online where we're becoming much more of a visual type of a consumer, where we want everything explained out to us in pictures, in photographs, in 6-second vines, whatever it is. We're becoming much more visual as we get overstimulated with all the data that's available online today. Companies like the one that we are going to be featuring tonight have come up out of the woodworks to help us out in making sense of all the stuff that we have available to us at our fingertips. So we've got two of the co-founders of Wikisway. It's a company that's out of Portland. Kate and Grace are on with us tonight. I'm so excited for you guys to get to know them. They're super fun, very funny women, and incredibly accomplished. So make sure you stay through the entire 30 minutes and mention YFE Chat on Twitter. Tweet out your little tweetable quotes, and I'll see you on the flip side. So you're watching Young Female Entrepreneurs, the live show that happens every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. I'm your host tonight. My name is Jennifer Dono. And like I was saying, our guests are two of the co-founders of Wikisway.com. It's a fantastic startup that is coming out of Portland, Oregon. So Northwest is totally represented tonight. I'm very excited about that. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Ovaleye TV, and that's actually, I moved it around. Ovaleye TV hosts and produces live video events built to meet your objective. Visit ovaleye.tv to request a free 30-minute consultation today to find out more about going live with your brand. And by MailChimp. MailChimp is a new sponsor to the Young Female Entrepreneurs live show. MailChimp supports more than 2.5 million email subscribers worldwide, sending 4 billion messages per month. MailChimp is designed for the do-it-yourself power user, someone looking for all of the power of an enterprise application but built for anyone to use. And so really quickly on the MailChimp thing, if you are watching live, look down below the chat, and thank you all so much for showing up, by the way, tonight. I'm really excited about tonight's show. I added a quick little button called click to get on the list. Mailed it. I thought it was being really clever. I was telling Erin of Well in LA, who's our Los Angeles city coordinator, I was like, I am so clever because the mailed it hashtag mailed it. But then when I was like reading the sentences of me explaining mailed it, yfe.me/mailed it is our short link, it didn't really come out as cute and clever as I thought it was. But anyway, join our list. It's totally powered by MailChimp. I'm very thankful that they've gotten on to support our show. They've been a joy to work with. I'm really excited about that. Tonight's show, like I was saying, we've got Grace and Kate of Wikisway. And Grace is my saving grace, literally. She helped me out with tonight's show, and she actually reached out to us, and I'd never really heard of Portland Seed Fund, so I'm just like you guys. If you've never heard of it, I have just in the last few days really been researching a lot about the accelerator that's out of Portland, and I'm super excited to find out more and share it all with you. If you're interested in being on the live show, I have a folder of about 50 or 60 people that are interested in being on the show. And so I promise you, I want you all to be featured on the show. And the best way to do that is to get on that hashtag YFE chat, get on the Instagram. You guys have been Instagramming in today, and it's been a lot of fun to look through it. Also, if you're on the Twitter, on the internets, you can see if you'll pop in. We like to feature as many people as possible on the live show. Yeah, if you can show the live feed. Did I bring it up? Yeah, it's on there. It's on my thing. Well, we'll try and show you guys as much as possible through the night. So feature different young female entrepreneurs and the people that are on the hashtag YFE chat. We'll try and feature you. Another thing that we do. Yes, perfect. Thank you. And also, shout out to the Stacey Harris, at the Stacey Harris. She's our social media outreach go-to girl for the hour that we're on live. She's fantastic. She's on at YF Entrepreneur. So if you guys are talking to at YF Entrepreneur right now, you're talking to Stacey. So hey, Stacey. And another way that we do it for the social outreach and get the community featured is through Tout. Tout.com. It's an awesome resource for young female entrepreneurs because it's all about this visual medium where we're moving into, where it's show me, don't tell me kind of a thing. And Tout fulfills that with 15-second bursts of video, basically. And one of the things that we tweeted earlier was a video from Shaq. So Shaq is part of their advisory board, and as in Shaquille O'Neal. And he's on Tout at the Super Bowl singing Beyonce's Halo. Is that the song title? Halo? It was hilarious. So you guys will have to check it out. But the reason why I'm mentioning Tout too, apart from the fact that we like to feature Touts on the show, is that next Thursday, Tout's Chief Marketing Officer, Scott Epstein, is going to be on the show. He's going to be talking about video microblogging. He's going to be talking about Tout. He's going to be talking about hopefully Vine and the 6-second video movement and this whole visual internet. It's just a perfect follow-up from Wikisway because we're getting into kind of more of an online marketing kind of a piece where we're talking more today about connections and how we can filter through all this data. So very excited about that. The week following that, I'm actually going to jump on the chat to see what you guys are talking about. West Coast-ish, the Stacey Harris. Yeah, she's out of Phoenix. She's our Phoenix city coordinator. The following Thursday after that, as far as we're talking about guests goes, is, drumroll, I feel like this was totally not momentous, as excited as I am, because this is someone I followed when I first started in business. Our guest is, can you show her picture? If you are like me and you're a young female entrepreneur, you know who this woman is, right? She's Allie Brown. She's going to be on with us on the 21st of February. It's a Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. So not only do we have the amazingly accomplished women of Wikisway tonight, next Thursday we have Tout CMO, and the following Thursday we have Allie Brown. So this is going to be super fun. And actually we have after parties on Twitter happening each week. And the one with Allie Brown is going to be the Stacey Harris at the Stacey Harris. She's going to take care of that. So super excited for the shows to come. Make sure that you guys are participating on the Twitter hashtag and all of that fun stuff so that we can all stay connected. If you go to youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com right now, you can find out about what's happening in our in real life meetups. We had a Seattle meetup happen a couple weeks ago, and there's a recap of it on the blog. I don't have the Twitter up yet. I keep saying the Twitter. It's fun. So anyway, go to youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com, sign up for our email newsletter, and you can find out more about all of that fun stuff. So right now, I want to go ahead and not spend too much more time talking about wifey and all of the cool things that we're up to, and talk more about the founders, the co-founders of Wikisway. Let's welcome those ladies on right now. So we've got Kate and Grace of Wikisway.com. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I'm thrilled to have you on.
Hi, Jen.
All right.
Glad to be here.
So I didn't get a chance really too much to introduce you, but so I think that your bios, first of all, didn't really do you justice. So I was looking at your one of the publications that you had. So they've been in the press a number of times recently, and one of them was talking about the experiences that you've had. Now, Kate, you've been at Nike. You're the user experience girl. You've been at Nike. You've been at all these great brands that when we look at it, we think we know that brand, right? That we know and love it. And then Grace, you know, I looked at you as more of the academic, and kind of like prior guests on, I'm like, okay, so she got into business because of her ability to look at cross-cultural types of things and all that, you know, smart people stuff. But you also have experience in startups, the startup scene in Brazil, of all places. You all have come from these different environments. So why don't you take a little bit of time to each talk about your prior experience into getting into this startup Wikisway?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll start. So my background, as you said, is in cross-cultural communications and international business and emerging markets. And so I did have the chance to work in Brazil with some startups, and that was a very interesting experience because a lot of the companies that I ended up sourcing for an American investment firm were not necessarily your traditional startups. In my opinion, they were a little past a startup. So they were like a teenage, young adult startup. As opposed to an infant startup. And they were establishing a lot of relationships, and they wanted to grow and build, and a lot of them had social impact as one of their missions and one of their platforms, but not in the traditional sense of how us in the US define social impact. So that was a really interesting experience to be at a growing business that was trying to also be conscientious of the market that they were in and the influence that they had on their consumers. And so I brought that information back with me, and I was very intrigued by how business and information and people work together. And I think that kind of persuaded me to become a part of the Wikisway team, because those connections that we were forming for the startups with investors and with investment and with other entrepreneurs, that was what was going to help them grow and become successful in the future. And Wikisway right now, the point we're in and with the product we've launched with the Crunchbase information, that's what it's doing. It's a tool to help entrepreneurs connect in a way that I was trying to do on the ground in Brazil, and trying to understand better through cross-cultural communication.
Very cool. And Kate, what about yourself?
I come from a background in graphic design. I studied graphic design in my undergraduate, and through that really worked with a lot of technology, worked with Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and all of those, and became expert in that. Ended up working at Apple for a short period of time, and then kind of randomly, awesomely landed at Nike and spent 5 years of my career out there doing design and apparel. But my love was really in tech, so I decided to leave Nike. I went back and I got my MBA in marketing, which was an opportunity for me to get into tech and use a little bit of the strategic side of my brain as well as the creative. And after that, I just kind of fell into the startup environment. I worked, did an internship with HP on a startup product within a large company. It was run almost as a startup. And then I moved down to Silicon Valley to work for a small startup called GenY, which is doing some amazing stuff in the mobile space. Ultimately, I wasn't comfortable living in California, and so I moved back home to Portland and have been back in the startup space with Wikisway. It's just been a really great opportunity, and we're having a blast.
All right, so you both talked a little bit about why it is that you joined the team, but so you're 2 of 4 team members, right, of the co-founding team. So as far as the founder, can you talk a little bit about what sparked the idea for Wikisway and how this started off in the first place?
Sure, I'll start that off. So Houston has a background in statistics and analytics and the academic of it, as you were discussing before. He is very interested in network science, and he took a course at our graduate school, which we attended together, that focused a lot on networks and understanding how networks related to each other. But what he noticed, and what we've all noticed as well with our work with Wikisway, is that there's definitely a gap between content and context. There's a lot of information out there, but we never really know how it's related to something else or what it's trying to say, because the context that the information is coming from is missing. It's just raw data, and nothing or anyone in this space is sort of defining it. And so the point of Wikisway is to add context to that information on the web. We want to give our users a way to understand and see the world that they've never seen it before. And so that is kind of the inspiration behind Wikisway, and it's fueled by the science of it, but it's also fueled by the humanity of it. We're all connected. The connections to one another are what really drive us as a species, and so it's how we better understand how we relate within our own ecosystems and within other people's ecosystems.
So earlier in the day, I used the hashtag Data Nerds Unite, because I do every time I talk to people like you, because starting last year is when I started really getting to know these startups that were all focused on making sense of data, because we're all part of these social networks. Or when we were doing YFE chat for we partnered even with CNN International for one of them. They were quite large, and the questions that we asked sometimes were pretty intimate questions. And I was just thinking about all this data that we put out there. There's just incredible amounts of information that we could be, that's what all of you guys are doing, is trying to figure out how we can rework these and make it more practical so that people can make use of it. So I think it's a fascinating subject to be talking about, and how you can profit off of this data that we're all putting out there. So as far as Wikisway, you guys really got started with Portland Seed Fund is really what pushed you at the gates. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with Portland Seed Fund, who they are, and how you got involved?
Sure, I'll take that. I came onto the team a little bit before Grace really joined us full time. Grace, we imported her from Tennessee. We're very lucky to have her present here in Portland. But so Houston, our founder, had actually gone through the application process with the Portland Seed Fund and got us in. When I met Houston, we were about a week into the program, and so I got kind of all the benefits without having to do a lot of the front end work. So fortunately, I can't speak to that. I know there is a lot of work involved. But the Portland Seed Fund is kind of a unique program where private funds and state funds are intermingled and then given to these seed stage tech startups with the hopes of boosting the economy. It's been an incredibly successful program. We're really lucky to be a part of it. And so we got a small amount of seed money, and then weekly sessions with mentors and advisors, really great events that allowed us to meet other people in the community, other startup founders, and really bond. We've got a bit of a family vibe with the families that came out of this fall group. And it's just been an incredible experience. I highly recommend, if anybody's out there and looking at potentially starting a tech business, trying to get into one of these accelerator programs.
All right, so one of the things that's been mentioned over and over again, especially, I mean, we've had people in Techstars, we've had people that have been in Y Combinator, and they've all said that the real bulk of the work that happens in getting into some type of program like that is all of the work you do before even applying. Making sure that you network with people, that you connect with mentors, and really go over what it is that they're looking for in the application process. And so how could someone that's interested in getting into a program like that utilize Wikisway to make sure that they are meeting the right people, that they're connecting with the right people? Tell us more about like the actual user experience behind the software.
I'll start that off, and I think Kate will be able to definitely add to that question. A great way to use the tool is just to search. So the way you would use Crunchbase, a lot of entrepreneurs go on Crunchbase to do research, to see what companies are like their company, or what companies have created products that are like the ideas that they currently have, who's invested in them, when did they invest in them, how much did they invest in them, did they participate in accelerators, which ones. There's so many questions that they're seeking to answer by going to a single Crunchbase profile, but it doesn't work, right? They have to go click on all the hyperlinks. They have to look at everyone else's profile just to come up with a few answers to some of those questions. So Wikisway is great because what you're doing is you can search. If you want to know about, let's say, Visify, a company that went through the Portland Seed Fund, you can put in Visify and you can see their network. Let's say you too want to create a product very similar to what Visify is doing. And so you go search, you see that they participated in the Portland Seed Fund. Before you did the search, you didn't even know about the Portland Seed Fund. You see that they're, one of our advisors. So they're in our network. Maybe before you even went on there, you didn't know that. You didn't realize there was a relationship there. So what it's doing is it's allowing for entrepreneurs to illuminate those connections that they didn't recognize between the people and the places that they want to engage in and want to be. So it's a great way just to see who's in the space.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think the other thing is being able to recognize patterns. Grace kind of talked about it more in the relationship standpoint, which is definitely key. But also looking at investment companies and what they're investing in, what have they been successful in, what are their key areas of focus. Right now, through the Wikisway site, you can go through, you can search for, say, Sequoia Capital or Kleiner Perkins, which are very big and well done in the Valley. You can also then tag those down. You can expand those networks and see who is co-investing with them, who's investing only in mobile products, who's only investing in bio or clean tech. And so really being able to refine those out. And really, our aim is to make it fast, easy, and visual. With Wikisway, the difference is, you can find this information on Crunchbase. We're very clear about that. We're pulling data from another source. This is open public data. The difference is that, doing that research on Crunchbase could take you 2 hours to uncover those connections and a lot of manual labor. Whereas on Wikisway, you get everything instantly and visually in this fun to interact with graph.
And I think another really key component is also that there is a sidebar that has information. So it's not just the visual graph that pops up, but there's also a little text that gives you enough background on the node that you're looking at to be able to understand if you need to even explore that more. And I find that to be incredibly useful as well, because you can see the little information on the company you're looking at, and also see the other company investors or individuals and financial institutions in that network, and see, oh, maybe I need to explore this connection instead of staying within the node that I've currently expanded. And I think that that's really a big bonus, is you get to have the content and the information visualized, and then you still get to have a little peek at it too. So that's a great way to integrate the tool.
No, yeah, we have it behind us on the screen, so you can kind of see a little idea of what it looks like once you're into it. But no, I thought it was a lot of fun. It actually is kind of more of a time suck once you get into it, because you start clicking on the heads, and you're just like, you keep clicking on heads, and you're like, okay, who's this person connected to? And then you get into the financial institutions and the people, you know, that are part of like these larger incubators. But so I want to move forward a little bit, because I think the product is fantastic. So really fast, before we get too far past the actual product that you guys are working on, how can people take a look at it right now?
Very simply, just go to wikisway.com. You know, we are in beta right now, but simply put in an email address or sign in with Facebook. We really appreciate feedback, but it is an open beta at the moment. We're going to be closing that down soon. So come by. It's limited opportunity.
So, all right. So now let's talk about Women 2.0, because Kate, you wrote an article recently on Women 2.0. You're going to be going to their conference next week. And you, part of it was, I mean, it was all about your experience in being in this startup environment and being kind of thrown into the middle of it. Now, one of the quotes in your article was, I want to get 72,478 items done, but I also want to have a life and see my friends and occasionally sleep. I want to make an amazing product, but my business will fail if I wait for it to be perfect. And I think we can all relate to a statement like that, right? Where we really want to see our businesses flourish and really be at that end point today. But at the same time, we have to we have to be able to, if we're a mom, we have to be able to see our kids, or if we are dating, we have to like pursue that type of a thing and not totally be all consumed into this product. So as far as balance goes, do you believe that it is a myth? Is it something that no one can really achieve? Or is there an art to achieving it? What side are you on as far as the article goes? Because you just briefly mentioned it in that.
You know, I don't know that it's a myth, but I definitely haven't achieved it on a regular basis. So if anybody has any tips, I would love that. You know, I find that the balance of my life changes from day to day. You know, one day I might be in the office for 12 or 15 hours, or not necessarily in the office, but I'm on my laptop, I'm thinking about it, I'm, you know, attached to my cell phone, and then it just takes up my entire day. And then the next day, you know, I do a good 8-10 hours work, and then I go home and I make a conscious effort to go see a movie, go see a friend, and do something else. And so it's something I think requires a lot of work to find balance in your life, which is unfortunately, you know, not what anybody wants to hear. I have to work in order to find balance. But, you know, it's about prioritizing, you know, and reminding, for me, I have to remind myself that as much as I want to do these 7,000, 70,000 things today, most likely nobody's going to die or get hurt if I don't finish my wireframes and answer my emails and do all of those things.
I think that's a good point, is that the world is not going to end if you do not reply to that email this second if you wanted to go to bed. Grace, do you agree with Kate that it's work to get to that point of balance?
Yeah, I do. And the thing, I always say everyone else does all the heavy lifting, and I get to do, I think, some more of the fun stuff. But I love research and reaching out and stuff like that. So, but I do find myself always talking about tech. So what's happened to me is it's just bled into all other aspects of my life. And so when I'm having quote unquote downtime, I'm reading a tech blog, or I'm trying to teach myself how to code in my free time. So I found that the way that I seek out balance, is to still sort of inform my work life by doing really fun things in my personal life. So coding is difficult, and I'm a baby, I'm like a newborn baby at it, but it's something I'm taking on that I enjoy, that's for my personal well-being and, you know, personal education. So I try to, that's the kind of balance I seek out, is to inform my professional, but I'm also new in the city, right? So I'm like, hey, I don't have friends who want to hang out with me and all those fun things quite just yet. I'm building my friend circle, so I have very few friends. and that helps for hanging out, you know. And I am from another time zone, so all my friends are asleep when I go home from work, and so I don't have as many constraints to my job.
Okay, but let's get real. You guys have a pretty fun work environment. I mean, as serious as a tech business is, and as serious as, you know, all the stuff that you're doing trying to get this product out. We were mentioning beforehand, your, what is it? Spirit animal is the sloth?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on, because we have women on the East Coast that at Penn says they're getting ready with water, booze, milk, and cereal for this blizzard. And so to add some funness to your night, you guys need to check out their Twitter handles. Pop them down there really fast in the lower third. So these women are talking about sloths, and I was like, okay, what's the deal? I don't really get it. So you look a little bit further, and they have this article about Bradley Cooper looking like a sloth, and I was telling them I'd never really thought about that before, but now I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel, like a replay on Hulu, and I kept thinking sloth. So tell us more about what the sloth thing is. And I mean, I think this is a perfect picture of what, you know, it's not all serious. It's not all about wondering where the money is coming in and, you know, developing this product. You're still able to have a little bit of fun at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have a great office environment, and that really starts, I think, at the top with our founder and CEO, Houston Edinger. He's a real nice guy. And he likes to get things done, but he also wants to make sure that we're enjoying what we're doing. And that's as much a part of the team atmosphere as anything else. And it's important to the success of our product, right? You have to love what you do. So back to the sloth. One day we were in here, we made some sort of accomplishment. Kate or Toby or Houston did something great, and I was excited. And so I did sloth claws. I raised the roof with sloth claws like this. So I was like, put up the sloth claws. And Kate and Toby thought that was hilarious. They laughed and laughed, and they're like, oh yes, this is awesome. And then it was like sloth paws, sloth claws. We keep it slothy in here. Like, you know, sometimes you have to maintain your sloth sexiness. So it's building, it's creating its own vocabulary. And it's all about always being slothy in the best way possible. And so it's kind of our unspoken spirit animal and our mascot. And actually, if you guys pop over to the Wikisway Facebook page, we are trying to get 50,000 likes on our picture or 5,000 users to go just from the picture. And if we get it from a picture that we have of our team begging for people to click on a picture, our CEO will dress up like a sloth, and he may or may not be seen around Portland in a very nice and professional sloth costume. That's the one.
Okay, so this guy right here, okay, what's the Facebook page? Facebook.com/what?
Wikisway.
Wikisway, can we pop that in the lower third? You guys, it takes 2 seconds. Pop over there and give it a like, because that would be an excellent topic on Portlandia. So we need to get this a little bit more attention, and then hopefully you guys will make it into the next season too.
That'd be great. Or even the Ellen DeGeneres show. She's been talking a bit about sloths, and she brought one on her show. So if Ellen is listening, watching, tweeting, and she wants to have her CEO dress up like a sloth, I invite her to like the picture and to contact me. I'm available.
That's awesome. Okay, so before we end, I want to talk really fast about budget, because, you know, you can be slothy all you want and you can be building this beautiful product, but you need to make sure that you stay within budget. Now, you guys have 4 co-founders, and you have people in office that are actually, they're engineers, they could be paid probably hundreds of thousands of dollars at any other company. So how do you stay within budget, create an awesome product, and let everyone know about it at the same time? What are some tips as far as kind of working on a budget?
I think I'll answer that from a marketing perspective, and then Kate can do it from the UX UI perspective. But from a marketing one, I mean, this for me has been trial by fire. You know, it's not my profession of training. And so I've just had to be really creative, and it's always great to ask for help from your network, right? We're talking about connections to other people, and so it's been really wonderful to be able to reach out to Kate's network or to my network or Houston or Toby's, and to just capitalize on things like our undergraduate connections or our grad school connections, or even, like, you know, friends that have friends who have friends who may write for a tech blog and they don't mind introducing us. So it's definitely been about the creativity spin about it. Or even, you know, our photo asking for people to like our picture, so our CEO will dress up like a sloth, right? We just kind of jumped on the bandwagon that people were doing of like this picture. If I get 1 million likes, I get a puppy. That kind of thing. It's about stepping outside of the box and finding ways to engage with your customer base without necessarily having to spend money to bring them on board, right? And I think people like the personal touch and the aspect of being a part of the team with us in some capacity. And so really marketing it as that, and then just follow through. It's about being diligent. And I think that when you're bootstrapping it, it's really important to understand that you're going to have to work maybe twice as hard as someone who could pay for a service that's going to have a bot that auto tweets to all of your followers all of the time. It's going to mean that you're going to have to individually reach out to the people who reach out to you, and you're going to have to, you know, make them feel like a part of your family, because they really are, and that's how you really build a strong connection with the people who use your product.
You need to put the work into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to iterate on that, I'm not, you know, entirely sure what the background is of anybody that's sitting in, but from a development standpoint, it's a lot about, you know, working smarter instead of harder. So from a you know, web design, UX, experience, etc. We try to really flesh out ideas before we implement them, because our engineering time is very limited. We, as part of the Portland Seed Fund program, they actually really highly recommended that we read The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, which is a great book for anybody that's looking to get into tech business. I believe it's on the bookshelf behind you. And it really talks about iterating before implementing. You know, for us, that means using some services that are, you know, software as a service for emails and things of that nature, where we really like to have custom implementation. But at this point, it doesn't make sense for us to spend the engineering time to build those tools when they exist, and we can find them for a low fee as a service. So that's some of the ways that we keep on budget.
Well, let me ask you in that same sense then. So for the people that are doing more of the lean startup methodology, where you're going forward and you're just kind of testing out ideas without putting the full force of your engineering know-how behind it, it seems like there's quite a balancing act there. So there's certain people that they do that, and then you show up and you're like, this is awful. Like, I understand that there's a bigger vision here, but why are you sending me to it right now when it's not really ready? So how do you decide when to basically ship it rather than hold it back and be like, okay, we need to hibernate a little bit more before we push it out or test something?
You know, it is a balancing act, and sometimes it's really difficult to find that. I think, you know, having good talent and having your friends and family being willing to suffer through testing awful product is really valuable, so that you can do really early renditions of product and say, hey, what does this look like to you? Does this function? Find the bugs. And you get the really major stuff out of there just by watching a few people. You can even, you know, with software, you could walk into a coffee shop and say, hey, would you, you know, I'll buy you a cup of coffee if you'll play around with my website for 5 minutes and tell me what you think. And you can just watch people as they interact with these tools and products. And if they're screaming and banging their heads on the table, you know you're not ready to launch.
It's awesome. And a lot of people have said that. Like we had the dating guys. You guys remember them? Nick Solomon, and do you guys know them? They're another data company where they're using the information from Facebook and pulling it in to make a better dating eHarmony kind of experience. You guys will have to remind me of their name. It's just totally blanking on me. But anyway, he talked about where he'll put out a Craigslist ad and ask for people and say, I'll pay you $10 or whatever to show up and sit at a computer in front of me and use my product. So I think that, you know, there is still, we can put out all the polls we want, and we can put out all the different, you know, use the different software that's available to us. But at the end of the day, there is something about being able to sit right next to someone that's using your product and hear their feedback right away. So I think that's some interesting things to think about that you provided us there with. So we're running out of time. So before we go, one more time, where can people sign up? Where do you want people to go? Do you want us all to go to wikisway.com and start using your product? Do you want us to join a mailing list? What do you want us to do?
If you go to wikisway.com, you'll automatically get the option to join our mailing list. We don't spam, so you will get the choice to respond to the email and join the list. But yes, please come to wikisway.com, put in your email address or your Facebook ID, and start playing around and let us know what you think about it. We've got a feedback tab there. You can email me. It's kate.bagoy@Wikisway. You can tweet at us. We would just really love to hear your thoughts.
And where can we find each of you on Twitter? Because I know everyone wants to follow you now after the sloth comments. At Corey Freeman was on Twitter. She's like, I had a client call and now I'm in and you guys are talking about sloths and making friends. So, sorry about that. But where can people find you on Twitter?
I'm at K Bagoy, K-B-A-G-O-Y.
And I'm at Grace, then EWURAESI.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I know that you're crazy busy right now. Kate, you're going to be at Women 2.0 next week. So if you're at Women 2.0, make sure that you pop over and try and find Kate while you're there. Give her a ring. Maybe bring some like slothy kind of fun things and be a little inside joke there. But thank you both so much for being on the show. Make sure, you guys, that you check out wikisway.com and tweet them up at the hashtags that they mention.
Glad to have been here. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you.
Thanks, Jen.
All right, so you've been watching two of the co-founders of Wikisway.com. My name's Jennifer Dono. I'm the host of the Young Female Entrepreneur Show that happens every Thursday. I've been watching your tweets and looking at your Instagrams. This Stacey Harris is enjoying a glass of red wine. I'm very excited to have a cocktail after this. But there's also some blizzard talk going on. You guys are preparing for a blizzard at pen_says. One of my favorite YFE chat tweeters. She's hilarious. She's getting ready for it. So it's at Am Schaffner. And so we're going to have an after party after this. Every Thursday after the live show, we continue to talk over on Twitter at the hashtag YFE chat with the Stacey Harris as the YF entrepreneur. We also had a couple other Instagrams come in. One is from the Fit Femme at the Fit Femme on Instagram. I like this one. She's getting all ready. She said, Fit Femme into house. I don't think I can say stuff like that. Fit Femme in the house. So she could definitely pull it off. I can't. And then another one. Okay, so this is the thing, you guys. If you put in a YFE chat hashtag, tell us where to find you or more about you, because this is the most gorgeous necklace I've ever seen. And I don't know anything about you. She's at UBREYN. And I thought I saw somebody on the chat with this. Beautiful Instagram. You guys, if you're watching right now, you need to tell us where to find that. Gorgeous. So anyway, hopefully we'll see you back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern with the Tout Chief Marketing Officer, because video microblogging is the hip thing around town right now, and we all need to learn more about how we can use that and where potential little pockets are that we could create little businesses around. I think that'll be super fun. The week after that is Allie Brown, which I all know. We've done multiple polls of who it is that you admire and respect in business, and she is the number one. She's at the top of it. And so that is the 21st, and the next week after that is going to be a super fun guest too, but I'm going to wait to tell you who it is. So hopefully we'll see you back here next Thursday. Make sure that you sign up for our mailing list through MailChimp. Again, it's the hashtag mailed it, which makes it super fun to sign up for, right? So I'll see you back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. If you're staying after for the after party, I'll be on in just a few moments. Thanks so much.